All right. Hello, everybody. This is Billy Rainford. Welcome to the 2020 Direct Motocross Awards, the DMXies, as we've always liked to call them. All you got to do is throw an IES at the end and you're all set. But anyway, my name is Billy Rainford. Welcome. We're doing something a little different this year. We're going to do a little video presentation of it. Try to give it a bit of a panache, flair. We've got, as you can see there, we've got Greg Poisson this year joining us. Greg, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey guys, what's up?
All right, Greg, how you doing there, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, my friend. Doing good. Just getting excited. We're past that the winter hump, as I call it. So we start getting excited for next year, and we're in January now, so we've only got a few more months until gates drop. So I feel like it just ended, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, we're going to be leaning on you here for your opinions here. We pulled you into some fun things throughout the summer here for our series and everything. So I know you were at the races and everything with me, and we got to take it all in. It was a different year. Obviously, we're talking pandemic situation here. We call it the pandemies. I've seen that already done before. But I just want to say thank you very much. This is the end of 2020. We're heading into 2021. Thank you to everybody who has been behind Direct Motocross over the years. A few of them are represented back there with some nicely placed hats. Some of them I don't have, but thank you very much to everybody for always being behind Direct Motocross and what we do here. We have lots of stuff planned for next year, so we're looking forward to another good year. Unless you want more ado, is that enough ado?
I don't know. I bid you adieu. I don't know. Are you saying Pan or are you saying Pam? I'm not sure.
Let me help with the stance. I'm not sure what the difference is, but
the Pan-Pam dilemma.
Okay, so what we've got here, we've kind of broken it down into two things leading up to what became kind of a life of its own, the People's Choice, where we put it out to people to throw in your votes, and we had kind of a two-person race, and it got pretty exciting actually. And I don't have the tallies, but trust me, it was close and it was fun totaling that up. So we'll save that one for last. But like I said, we've broken it into two things. One is kind of the opinion thing where Greg and I can, we can differ in our opinions. We can have two different ideas. And then we've got ones that obviously Direct Motocross has to pick winners. So we've got a few of those saved for the end. But Greg, I say we go for it. Let's hop right into our first category.
All right, let's get this show on the road. This really big shoe.
Oh, I knew you weren't going to be able to fight that. Okay, yeah. So the first thing we're going to do here, we got most dominant pro rider of the year. I mean, there's obviously, taking a look at different things. My pick, I had to go with being a rookie even in the 450 class. Yep. I thought especially in the motocross portion of it, it didn't seem to matter where Dylan Wright started. He was making his way to the front. He was going to get there. And I just thought he was a very dominant rider this year. So I gave this one to Dylan Wright. Greg, what did you think?
I mean, Dylan was my actually my go-to originally. And then I started looking into it a bit more. And I kind of wanted to vary a little bit too, if possible, in our answers. But my pick goes to Jess Pettis. So going back to it, so when I looked at the results, they actually finished the same overall as every round. So they went 1-1, 2-1-1. And so, I mean, that's pretty cool. And that's, so if Dylan's dominant, then I think Jess is definitely dominant too. And then when looking at the final points in the motocross segment or the motocross MX Tour, Jess actually had 341 versus Dylan's 335 for overall points. So that's my reason for picking Jess. I mean, 250 versus 452, it's kind of one of those things, but my pick goes to Jess. And, it's going to be exciting to see how those two square off next year.
It was my understanding there would be no math.
I mean, I don't know. I had my girlfriend do it for me.
Well, that was nice. Yours was backed up with facts. That was very well done. Thanks, Greg. Yeah, so I picked Dylan Wright. You picked Jess Pettis. Obviously, either one could be nobody's going to argue about either one there. Second one, biggest surprise. We kind of always throw this one in there. Just kind of a lot of times there isn't a huge surprise. A lot of times there are surprises. This year, of course, we had to go with biggest surprise for me was the fact that we even went racing at all. I mean, 2020, the pandemic hit in March, or I hit before that, but March coming into it, we really didn't think we were going to be able to go riding. So for me, I'm going to say the biggest surprise of the year was just the fact that we had a place to go to watch races, to take photos, take videos, to all that stuff. I'm just, the biggest surprise for me was that we actually could go somewhere and race.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not wrong in that one. It's, it seemed like every round we were at, there's rumors in the pits that this was going to be the last one, or that someone would shut us down halfway through. Like, I felt like kind of like a badass all the whole time. Like, you're like an outlaw, right? We're out doing something that we're not supposed to be doing, even though we were allowed to be there. was just that kind of year. And it was really, you know, it added a little bit of stress to the whole program. And, you know, these guys were out there trying to race their dirt bikes. So it was kind of crazy to look at it like that. But my pick, you know, I was picking riders. I actually picked Dylan Wright for this one. And as I said before, I hope he doesn't take this the wrong way, but Dylan has a bit of a history of being kind of a checkers or wreckers kind of guy. And, you know, he ends up on the ground a fair bit. And, you know, especially in the, well, obviously in the 250 class, because this was his rookie 450 year. But, you know, I fully expected him to crash a lot more and not be as consistent as he was. So that was my biggest surprise for sure, was that he was just so good. And it's not that I didn't think he could do that, because I fully expect that even next year or the year after, but his first year on the big 450, I mean, he killed it in my opinion. So to pick a rider, it would be Dylan for sure.
Yep, no, absolutely. I mean, if I was to pick a rider for the biggest surprise, I 100% would agree with you on Dylan Wright, holding that. And like I said, it came to a point where it was like, the surprise was his consistency. Like you said, I mean, the gate dropped, he could good start, bad start, go down. He was making his way to the front. It was really impressive to see. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And the overall, like I said, just kind of the fact that we even went to the races. So there's that. Most improved rider is kind of our next category that we can kind of chat about. I think we agreed on this one actually, but not so much maybe for the motocross section portion of it, but standing during the Supercross, you could just watch even throughout the day the changes from this guy. I picked Ryan Derry for this one here for the most improved rider. I mean, standing beside his dad, Peter Derry, we were watching as he was he'd be looking at sections, just like, was he gonna? Yep, boom, he got that section, then just kept improving and improving. So most improved, Ryan Derry for me.
100% for me too. That's the one we agreed on. The first one we really agreed on, and you know, like I said, the outdoors were it was kind of hard to pick a person because there's like some real serious mud races and a lot of factors factored in. So it's hard to see. I
did have a pick for motocross, but he's getting something later, so we'll save that.
Yeah. So for me, it was definitely Ryan, because I sat actually up on the hill, and I think it was with Donk actually, and we were talking, and Donk was like, look at Derry. He was like, he looked like he wasn't the fastest guy, but he was doing all the same sections as a lot of the big guys. He was tripling stuff. A couple times he'd come up shorter, and he'd like just kind of knuckle something. And for me, I mean, I'd be full puckered at that point. I'd be like, holy smokes, like, what did I just do? And then he'd come back around and he'd do it clean. So obviously the confidence was there, and he, you know, he did a really good job. Like he was, you know, by far from the first round even to the second round, which was only a week apart, you know, he vastly improved. And he was, you know, he obviously worked. I've seen his videos on his social media now, and he's obviously put in the work for next year. So, you know, I'm excited to see where he ends up, because he's definitely got the motivation to do well. So yeah, he's definitely my most improved rider for sure.
For sure. So there's another one we agree on there. Ryan Derry, congratulations. We got you got the most improved rider for 2020. Next one is kind of a fun one we do too. There is an emoticon thing that'll put up.
Are we golf clapping?
Little thing in the corner there. But now the next one here is kind of the feel-good story of the year. Again, there's not always something that jumps in there, and of course we could throw in there the fact that we went racing. But again, this is another one that we agreed on here, and I think we both know this family quite well, and I'm talking about Weston Rosina coming out, getting back into racing, finding the fun again, finding the smile, winning that FXR premix class.
Yeah, I mean, Weston, I wrote in my notes, you know, I've known Weston since he was a little boy, like really just like a kid on 50 since I think he was 5 years old at the time. And, you know, he's in his mid 20s now. So I've known him for, you know, most of his life and most of mine. And, you know, he was definitely burnt down on racing. He was a kid that had a lot of expectations growing up, and was like kind of the next big thing. And as we see so often, sometimes it doesn't work out. It's not an issue with him or anything. It just doesn't work like that. And I know he was pretty bummed out, and then he decided, hey, I'm going to try this. He saw the new challenge in the premix class, and he saw that Nathan Bless did so well last year, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go after Nathan. And I fully expected him to be competitive. And he bought a used YZ 125, and you know, I think the thing was pretty much stock. Like, I don't think he did much to it. I know Kale Foster, our good friend Kale, you know, helps out a little bit here and there with little things, and just making sure it's not going to fall apart on him. So there's not zip ties and wire holding the whole thing together. But and then he just killed it. He did really well, and by no means was he dominant, but he was really consistent.
Sure he got an overall. Did he get an overall, or did he?
I don't think he did. I don't think he did. But he also really wanted it too, and I think that kind of helped him kind of get back to what do get back to racing. Because if anyone remembers at Walton, the final corner right before the finish line, him and Roberts, I forget which Roberts it was, and they came in and just like Weston hit him as hard as he could. And I love seeing that kind of stuff. So, Weston wanted it real bad. And,
Didn't phase him.
So it's good he's 100% my pick, and I'm super happy to see him back. And, that was definitely, it felt good for the whole family. And he's got a great family behind him. And his brother Cameron too was in there, and he was podium a couple times. So like, those two are going to go at it pretty hard next year.
Yeah, for sure. So congrats to Weston Rosina there for our feel-good story of the 2020 season. The next one, I mean, I don't have any stats to back this up. Maybe you did. I didn't do that much homework, but kidding. But best starter, I mean, sometimes this is obvious, sometimes it's not. But for me, it was always I kind of thought in the 250 class, Jess Pettis seemed to kind of get that KTM down, the power down, and you would always count on him coming around there and being, oh boy, there he goes, making it boring again, grabbing the whole shot. Wasn't what we all wanted to see for competition, but I mean, it just showed his dominance for sure in that class this year.
Yeah, Jess was up there for sure. On that Matt DeRoy tuned KTM Canada bike was pretty good. My pick was Keelan Meston. So you think about Keelan, especially outdoors, he was up there top 5, I'd say, or at the very worst, just outside the top 5, almost every moto that I can remember. So he that really helped him in his overalls too. But I think my pick goes to Keelan. Jess obviously was definitely up there too, but I'd say for overall consistent starters, it would be Keelan for me.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we didn't get to have the some of the podium celebrations like we have in the past, and because I've got some pretty classic photos of Keelan getting hole shots and shedding tears up in front of his hometown crowds and stuff. So we didn't get to see that. Oh yeah, I got some buttes. Maybe. Yeah,
he's a beauty. He's a good guy. I'm glad to I've got to be friends with him over this past season, and he's he's a really good guy. So it's good to hear. It's good to see some emotion too from these these racers.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now next one, best interview. I mean, year after year, there are some guys that are pretty consistent in there, but this for me, I'm going to pick a new guy. Came all the way up. I just love this story. Came up in his pickup, pulling in just a cargo trailer. He was living in it. Talking about Logan Leitzel from Pennsylvania. Man, the guy was always I think he was just thrilled to be here too, right? So he was always very open with his time. We did a little rig tour of his cargo trailer. Just a fun guy, big smile on his face. Like to see good things happening for him. There is probably some pretty cool news coming up for him as well for this coming season. So I gave it to Logan Leitzel for best interview for me.
Yeah, he's great. He's owned some of the kind of like a feel good story too, right? Comes up with a truck and trailer, and I think he was just doing it on his own. I don't think he had anyone with him or whatever.
Yeah.
Good. Seemed like a really nice guy. I only got to talk to him a couple times, but good. And he kind of got that support for Supercross with OTSFF and Simsy and all those guys. So, great. My pick is Marco Canella. Marco being still pretty young and it's kind of, sometimes when you're younger, you're not really a great interviewer. You're not really open about things. And Marco was always open with me to, whenever I had a question or wanted to do an interview. That's why I think I interviewed him after every round, because he was just so open about it. And he was doing really well too. So obviously the extra attention can be good and bad. And he was just good to interview and a really nice guy. And I think, those guys at KT and them have a real good person on their hands to work with and to be around. So my pick is Marco.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, year after year, consistently, Marco has always been great for sure. So a great pick there for sure. Now, okay, let's move on to another one here that you're kind of stepping into the shoes of our old buddy, Jeff McConkey. This guy, I mean, but we all know this guy was a style master. It's 4 quarters of the battle was looking good is what he always said. I always thought he was just hilarious, but we're going to kind of make up a new award that we're going to carry forward called the Jeff McConkey Award, the best style Jeff McConkey Award. So I'm going to stay out of this one. I don't know why I just stay out of this one. I'm going to push this one over to you, Greg. Who are you going with for the best style, best looking, that kind of award this year?
For me, I mean, to step into Jeff's, I think he only wears size 9 boots, so I don't think they're that big shoes, but it's definitely a tough call, because as we know, Jeff was always, always had the cleanest gear. The guy would ride 1 15-minute moto and or 10 minutes, whatever the heck he was doing, and would change his gear. So, there's nobody else to really pick for style master than him. So I too, it's a really loaded question, because there's definitely the fashion side of it, and there's also the style part of it is riding. So for me, it was definitely for an entire team to be the most fashionable. I'd say it was GDR Fox Honda Canada. Fox had those guys dialed. They always had brand new stuff, like just from, day one. They, like their gear was always really good. Like it was always clean. They just did a really good job. I think, Fox and the guys there, they take it very serious. They're not just like, hey, here's your gear. Make sure you're wearing clean stuff. It's always like, this is what you're wearing at this round. They have it planned out, I know, in advance. I know an old friend of mine, Jay Moore, when he was there, he took it very serious and would plan out the entire year building out their kits. So, definitely the GDR team. And then my pick for best style in the track was actually Marshall Welton. I kind of just liked watching him ride. He was just like super aggressive and he'd go for all the big jumps. I remember he jumped the step up at Walton in the mud, like no need to do it at all. I think it was practice and he goes for it full, like straight up and down send, still goes for it. You got to kind of reminded me of Mesley back in the day because Mesley would have jumped it too. But then like even in Supercross, you could tell that he spent a lot of time riding Supercross. He's from the States, obviously. So that's a big thing for them. And he was extremely aggressive and that's how he won the title. So I liked watching him ride. So that'd be my pick is GDR and then Marshall.
All right. Okay. Moving on, let's go to top intermediate. I think, I don't think this is a very tricky question, although a lot of times you wouldn't tell that he was an intermediate because, for TV and everything, the Jetworks guys did want people to be running pro plates if they could and everything. And obviously being on the team he was on, he was able to change graphics and things. I'm giving best intermediate to Ryder McNabb. The young kid, I think was he 15 years old. He's going to be a competitor. The kid, I love his drive, is just the way he goes for stuff. And he was top intermediate for sure.
Yeah, straight off a Super Mini, I think. I don't think I've ever seen him ride a big bike until this year. So yeah, Ryder for sure. He's young. He kind of stepped up as onto one of the bigger teams in Canada and a very professional team at that. So it's a lot of pressure, and I think he did pretty well. His results were mixed. I won't want to say inconsistent because they were consistent in being mixed, if that makes any sense. But looking at his results from the year, I think he finished 7th overall in the outdoors. So it's pretty good. Yeah, so he did well there too, and he was kind of quiet too. He was never really up at the front paddling, but he was always kind of there. And like I said, he was consistent in being inconsistent in a way. So that's kind of cool. No, 100% Ryder McNabb, and he's just going to get better from here.
Okay, and that's just kind of another opinion one here for sure. Best national. I don't know if heck, I want to give this to everybody this year, obviously, because just what we went through this year and everything. But if I had to pick one, because we have done this one in the past and everything too, so I'm just going to throw it out there. Again, no offense to anyone else. Everybody did so much work this year, but I'm throwing it just because we were so close to the nation's capital and we were so close to a huge shutdown in the Ottawa area. I got to give it to Sam DeLee for being able to pull it off that close to Ottawa and everything. So I just had to pick one, so I gave it to Kevin Tyler and the gang over there.
Yeah, no, I actually, my pick would have been KT and the crew and Johnny at MX101 because that's one of my favorite tracks in Canada, and they're just good people. I go up there sometimes to practice. It's about a 3-hour drive, and if I have the time, I'll do it. But I'm giving it to all Derek Schuster, Brett Lee, and KT. This was the craziest year we've ever had. We almost didn't go racing, and those guys jumped through hoops, I'm sure, and those hoops were probably lit on fire to pull off these races. So it's all three of them. I know Brett Lee at Walton has had tons of support in the past, and it seemed like a lot of that turned on him with the pandemic this year, and he pulled it off. He pulled off 2 rounds and amateur week. So like Brett, and then Derek stepping up with Supercross and having the first round, he was the guinea pig to it all. We weren't sure what was going to happen, and Dig took the reins and said, all right, I'll be the first round. And what a blaster for most of the guys for Gopher to be the first round too. But, Dig and then like you said, KT and those guys, being so close to Ottawa, and luckily they have good support in their local, politicians and whatnot. But it was just, I give it to everybody, and I don't want to be that guy, but I think they all deserve it.
I know, I'm with you there as well. Okay, let's move along here to best battle. Sometimes these really stand out, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they are good, hard-fought battles. Other times they're a little silly. So this year I went with a silly one. I went with the Cole Thompson Matt Gerke Supercross battle, where they were looking over, and Matt came out afterwards and said, I'm not very good at riding like that, so I probably made a fool of myself. But that Supercross battle between Matt Gerke and Cole Thompson, that's what I'm giving the best battle award to. How about you?
Yeah, that was a good one. For me, it was a battle, but also like they were just kind of being silly with each other, right? So I I didn't look at it as a battle. I looked at it as more of a takeout fest. But the two of them, I mean, it was awesome to watch. I loved it. I'm giving it to Sam Gaynor and Sean Moffenbauer. Those two, it seemed like no matter where they were, by like 3/4 away or halfway through the moto, they found each other and they were battling. And it's like, I know both of them are real go-getters and they don't want to lose to each other, especially being teammates. So I'm giving it to those guys.
Yeah, no, I agree with that one as well, for sure. Okay, well, one more kind of fun one here as well. It's again, on our side of the sport, it's kind of fun because we get to interview these guys. We get to kind of hang out at different things, and good or bad, even if they have bad rides, I mean, you've got to talk to these guys. They're professionals. We've got to come up and talk to them. And I mean, most of them are great with us. Sometimes they're not, and it's understandable. But again, it's pro sport, so you have to. But no matter what happens, we're going with the Congeniality Award here this year. I think maybe Marco Canella has won this in the past. I know Hayden Halstead, I think, has as well.
Hayden's a good pick for sure.
This year, got to go with Dario Zecca. Man, Dario, smile on his face. I mean, always a smile on his face, just there to have a good time. The guy's a teacher. I went up to him one time and he had a big smile. Everybody else had I panned across the starting line, everyone with their serious face. I get to him, huge grin on his face. And he goes, I just like riding my dirt bike. So
yeah, and if I was to pick a racer, no question, it'd be Dario. You know, what I appreciate about Dario is, you know, he could even laugh at himself, which is very, very hard to do in this sport. So with him, it's, you know, he'd make a bonehead move or a mistake or something, and then he would laugh and make fun of himself. So I mean, that's pretty big. But you pick Dario, so I'm going to pick someone different, not a racer, but I call it the hot dog vendor himself. I'm going to pick Kevin Tyler. So KT, you know, right before the season, they you know, he lost his major like title sponsor, and they could knock on racing. They don't need to go racing, but KT loves it. Johnny loves it. And Kevin's always super smiley at the track, super funny, always down for a good joke or whatever. You know, I just like being around the guy, and he's a guy that he's definitely the glue that holds that whole team together. And he does it. I think he holds the series together in a way too, because he's a staple there, and mine's definitely going to him.
All right, I agree. And it is about time he got some recognition for that too. So yeah, great pick, Kevin Tyler, on the Congeniality Award. Okay, now the next one, what we're going to do next is the ones that are official awards. So these ones we've agreed on. These ones are just awards that we like to hand out each year. And you can tell they're important because they're highlighted. So,
oh yeah.
Yes, and there's just please be ready over there. Okay, so for the first official award here, we got some time here for sure. Track of the year. I think, again, you kind of alluded to it. Well, you didn't allude to it. You said it. The gang. Wait, hang on. Hang on. Let me find out who was picked. Thank you. Okay, the award for track of the year goes to Gopher Dunes.
Gopher Dunes, yeah.
Greg, what do you think of that choice?
No question. You know, Dig. It's not everyone's favorite track to race at, that's for sure. It's one of the gnarliest ones anyone's ever seen. But you know, Dig showed up, pulled off the first round of this series with every set of eyes, you know, in the sport and everything, looking at him and making sure he followed these rules and blah 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 and all these different things. And then, you know, we came into Supercross, and obviously we weren't going indoors with that. And Dig said, well, you know, hell, let's build a track. And I don't know where they got all that hard packed dirt from, but it was pretty hard packed. And you know, he pulled that off too. So it's like, it's, you know, 100% Dig, in my opinion, and the whole Gopher Dunes team.
All right. Yeah. So congratulations. Track of the year. We could have picked any of the ones that stepped up and actually had nationals this season. So congratulations to everybody. We went with Gopher Dunes. So congratulations to Derek Schuster and the gang over there at Gopher Dunes. The next award, Amateur Rider of the Year. Let's just get that one there here. Let's see here who we have. And the Amateur Rider of the Year. I mean, the rest of them are kind of based on the Pro Series and things. So this is kind of the one that we like to do here. So Amateur Rider of the Year. I've got Sebastian Racine for Amateur Rider of the Year. So, I mean, I pay close attention to all the amateurs coming up and everything. And I mean, if you were to watch one guy all year long, it would be Sebastian Racine. I mean, we've always got these fast up and comers, and right now it is definitely Sebastian. So I want to say congratulations to Sebastian Racine, Amateur Rider of the Year.
Yeah, he's my pick too. Just pulling up my notes here. I didn't get to watch a lot of amateur stuff because I wasn't at any amateur races. I didn't really get to be there as much as I wanted to be, obviously. But I mean, the ones I did see was Sebastian, and he's, you know, the next kid, I think, coming up through the ranks. And super excited to see how he does. He's fast. He's, he looks fit, and he's good. So let's see how he does going forward.
All right. Congratulations, Amateur Rider of the Year, Sebastian Racine. Next one, the Pro Rookie of the Year. I mean, this one I think was probably pretty easy as well. I mean, this is another kid that we've kept our eye on. You want to talk about some attitude and everything. This guy's got it. Let's see who won the Rookie of the Year in the pro class. That would go to Jeremy Mackay. So congratulations, Jeremy Mackay, Amateur Rookie of the Year. And you know what I did? I mixed up Ryder McNabb's results with Jeremy Mackay's in the pro class. It was Jeremy Mackay who went 7 and then 4 in the series. So congratulations to Jeremy Mackay. What do you think of that pick, Greg?
Yeah, I agree 100%. He's going to do well. He's young and he's got a good support system. Another fast Quebec kid, which is always cool to see. And there hasn't been a ton of those in the last little while either. So it's good to see that. So yeah, he's an easy pick.
Right. Okay. This next one, I don't think is going to come as much of a surprise to everybody here. So let's take a look who won the Female Rider of the Year, the WMX Rider of the Year. We're talking motocross here. Oh, look, Eve Brodeur. What do you know about that one? There's a surprise. Congratulations, Eve Brodeur. This one is in indelible ink, it seems, for the past few years.
There's just no question. She's the cream of the crop when it comes to that class. And she stepped up to race some pro nationals, I think, every round this year. And
yeah, she's the only rider riding like 4 motos.
Yeah, 4 pro motos. I don't even think I could do 1 pro moto in a day. Like, I don't think I've ever ridden 30 minutes once, actually, my whole life. So for her to do, 2 pro MX2 motos and then 2 women's motos too, like class of the field for sure, and good for her.
Yeah, in the mud at Walton and everything. Oh boy.
Yeah, gross.
Okay, here's one that we've actually never done before, and we're gonna do it this year because man, again, pandemic. We really shouldn't have even been at the, you know what I mean? There's such a high probability that we weren't going racing at all. Yep. So what we did is we came up with a new thing for this year. I don't know if we'll have it next year or not. We'll see. It might be something we keep doing. But we're calling this one Person of the Year. So with that, let's see who won this one. This is a nice one. Let's see here. We have in the envelope. And the Person of the Year for 2020 is Ryan Gauld. So we got Ryan Gauld, Person of the Year. Greg?
Yeah, there's no no question in anyone's mind where that guy's heart and where he puts his money where his mouth is, and puts his mouth where his money is. I don't know what to say, but the guy stepped up huge for us.
Money in his mouth.
And the guy stepped up huge, and like I said, he's even on the phone with Rob Ford, and nobody else was doing that. I don't think anyone was doing that in any province.
We wouldn't have been, I don't think we'd have got. It's pretty safe to say. Obviously, he was involved with another group of people, like we talked about, of course, Derek Schuster, Brett Lee, Mel, Kevin Tyler, all those guys, and the guys, of course, at Jetworks and stuff. But he took the bull by the horns. It was Ryan Gauld who I think got this going. So he's probably just as surprised to hear me say that as any.
Yeah, I mean, it's Gauld. He's been around forever. This is what he knows, and what his life is motocross, and him and I have not always seen eye to eye on things, and he hasn't with some people, of course, as well. But I've got nothing but respect for the guy and what he pulled off this year. Was because, like I said, I don't think we would have gone racing at all, whether it's amateur or pro, if it wasn't for him. And there's no question in my mind, Person of the Year, even this year, and maybe even 2021, because I know Gauldy's going to bat for us again to do amateur racing, and he's the first guy to come out with a schedule too. Like, the guy's on it, and I don't know. I just got to say, like, we wouldn't be doing as well as we are right now if it wasn't for him, 100%. So
all right. So hey, congratulations, Ryan Gauld is our 2020 Person of the Year. We just got 2 awards left here. We got one more that we picked, and then we go to the People's Choice Award. We'll do that one last. Pro Rider of the Year. This is kind of a nice one here to pick. Let's see who we have here in the envelope. Thank you very much. So Pro Rider of the Year for 2020 is, I have a blank piece of paper there. I'm sorry, it is the wickedly talented Adele Dazeem. Oh, what? That doesn't even make sense. No, sorry, is that too soon for that joke? Is that too soon?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, come on.
I didn't get you on that one.
Okay. Well, you will. Someone will point it out. Anyway, I'm sorry. It is Dylan Wright is our Pro Rider of the Year. I mean, how can you not pick the guy who shows up in the 450 class as a rookie and was as dominant as he was? So Pro Rider of the Year, Dylan Wright. What do you think of that, Greg?
No question. Dylan stepped up, and, like I said, Jess may have been more dominant when it came to points and whatnot, but Dylan raced some really fast guys. Like you look at Nicoletti, Medaglia, Gerke, all these guys that are veterans, and Dylan was the rookie, and he stepped up, he showed up, and he battled with those guys. And like I said earlier, he didn't end up on the ground nearly as much as I thought he was going to, and that's no disrespect to him, but just looking at the history, and he stepped up and killed it. So no question, for sure.
All right, yeah. So congratulations, Dylan Wright is our 2020 Pro Rider of the Year. That's a big one. So congrats to him. It's going to be exciting this year. We got some other guys moving up into the class. It's going to be fun to watch. So we've got one award left, and this is the one that we've never done this before, and I wasn't sure what the response would be. So we put it out, People's Choice Award, put it out on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages, and just to see if people would, who people would want. And it started out, Sam Gaynor was getting a lot of votes, and then Talon Unger started getting a bunch of votes, and then Sam would get more, and then Talon got more, and then it became a campaign with these two guys. I mean, we had Sam Gaynor versus Talon Unger, and I just sat, and we had like 600 comments on that post. And so I just spent the better part of the day going through the tallies, and as I was going, it would be Sam would take the lead, then Talon, then Sam. And in the end, the rider of the People's Choice Rider of the Year is Talon Unger. So congratulations, Talon. You took that one over Sam Gaynor. That was fun to play along with that. What do you think of that, Greg?
I think it was single digits that separated them. The two of them are very, very close to that, maybe like 10, 11, 12, whatever. I mean, it's a tough call. I feel like it's hard to pick a loser, not, or like hard to pick a winner or hard to pick a loser, whatever you want to say, because these guys, both of them are winners. They're both good guys. They're definitely it's like I said, it's hard to pick, not taking away from Talon, but I would almost give it to both of them in a way, because it is so close, and it's just people wanted to let them know how appreciated they are, and that they go out of their way to help other people. So that's huge. So congrats to Talon, and congrats to Sam for being right there too. So they both did really, really well.
Yeah, and if you're curious, Dylan Wright was also up there pretty high, and Daniel Elmore. I think people are recognizing the fact that he's put in a lot. I mean, he spends a lot of time down at Club MX. I mean, he's really grinding, putting in the work there too. And Ryder McNabb was also up there too. But People's Choice, our first annual People's Choice Rider of the Year, is Talon Unger. And I just want to say, I remember in the mud race at Walton, and I mean, I pay attention. I talk to his dad quite often and everything, and I just love his attitude. Talon was the first guy out in practice, and I think a lot of it has to do with his dad is saying, listen, you need to get the attitude going. And he shows up, he'd get out there in front of the top guys, take off first in practice, take off first in qualifying. And I just really enjoyed watching him. And it's actually really early in the season. From then on, I started really paying attention to what he was doing. And so I always made a point of watching him. And I know he got ahead of, I think it was Marshall Welton actually. And he did not roll over to let Marshall get by. Marshall I don't think Marshall was all that happy, but I thought it was just a really cool testament to his drive and his how strong a competitor he is. So Talon, he's someone to watch, and I'll be interested to see how he does this coming year, how his work over the winter pays off. So anyway, congratulations, Talon Unger, People's Choice Rider of the Year.
Yep. No, it's good. He definitely deserved it, and it's good to see his hard work and being a cool guy, good guy off the track too means as much on the track. So
for sure. And yeah, so I mean, actually, that's going to bring us to the end of our awards program here. I hope everybody enjoyed that. What we might do is strip the audio from it. We can put it up as a podcast and stuff like that as well. We will do a typed up report on it, just so you can kind of read over some of our comments and stuff if you haven't watched it. But again, thank you very much to everybody this year. It was a strange year. I'm just so happy that we actually got out to do this. And thanks to Zoom for this. I think Zoom's been around for longer than this year, but it's man, what a game changer this has been to be able to record things like this and just kind of have fun with interviews and these strange times and stuff. And thanks to Greg. Hey, man, thank you very much for doing that, taking the time with us. And any final notes you want to say? Oh, there's something big coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, well, just thanks for having me. I'm really, really excited for this coming season and, get back out there. And yeah, so we've been talking about this for a while now, and it's finally coming to fruition. So the movie Revival, the kind of personal biopic, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, regarding mental health and athletes and whatnot, is going to be launched later this month. So it's finally been a long process, and we talked about it a lot, and there's been a lot of interest in it. So I'm really excited to bring that to you guys, and you'll see it on Direct Motocross. And
I'm not going to lie, I shed a tear.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool story, and it's definitely pretty raw too. So I'm really excited to hear everyone's feedback, and anyone can reach out to me regarding when they see it and what their thoughts are. I'm happy to hear any thoughts for sure.
All right, cool. So watch for that. The final product is ready now, so we will be releasing that very soon, called Revival. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you very much to everybody who stood behind Direct Motocross over the years. We got lots of some new people coming on as well for this coming year. So we're going to have a great season. Good luck to Jess Pettis, who's getting set to race Supercross down south. That's going to be fun to watch. Anyway, thank you very much, Greg. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to everyone for getting us a race series to go to. We'll do it all again next year. And thank you very much, Greg.
All right, we'll see you guys.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll catch you.